Hi, and welcome back. Colleges and universities in the United States are known worldwide for high-quality education programs, professors, and facilities. Still, there are differences in quality between institutions. With close to 5,000 colleges and universities to choose from, the goal of most students is to thus gain admission to a school that best matches their educational interests and offers a high-quality education. In this lesson, another in our Understanding the U.S. Higher Education System section, I'll talk about 3 issues key to helping you understand institutional quality: accreditation, selectivity, and rankings. Here we go. Let's begin with a quick review of accreditation. In case you're not familiar with this term, it refers to the process whereby a college or university volunteers to have an independent, non-governmental agency review its programs and services. The image on the right shows how this process works. If the school meets or exceeds the standards set by the review agency, it receives accreditation, which is essentially an endorsement of legitimacy and quality. If it fails to meet the agency's standards, a school may lose or be denied accreditation. Without accreditation, colleges and universities don't qualify for external funding, are not allowed to participate in certain federal programs, and can't attract high-quality professors or students. Having it, therefore, is essential to their survival. There are 2 basic types of accreditation: institutional and specialized. Institutional accreditation provides recognition for an institution as a whole, is usually granted for a period of 10 years, and is typically conducted by one of 8 main accrediting agencies. By contrast, specialized accreditation provides recognition for a program or unit within a college or university, and is granted by commissions belonging to national professional organizations in fields like business, engineering, medicine, nursing, law, and journalism. Because specialized accreditation is required by many state licensing authorities, graduation from an accredited program is essential for most students seeking licenses to practice in these fields. At GoStudy, we highly recommend that you only apply to schools or programs that are accredited. Determining if they are accredited is usually pretty easy. Just go to their website. If they are accredited, it's something they'll want people to know about, so you'll be able to find information about it there. 2 other great resources for accreditation information are the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, CHIA for short, and the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Post-Secondary Education. CHIA is an association supported by colleges and universities that promotes academic quality through accreditation. Their website includes information about how accreditation works, as well as a database of institutions and programs accredited by recognized U.S. accrediting organizations. Unlike other countries, the U.S. Department of Education does not have a formal role in reviewing the quality of schools or programs. One of its subunits, the Office of Post-Secondary Education, does, however, manage and publish a website database of accredited post-secondary institutions and programs. You can use either of these resources to see if a program or school is accredited, or to view accredited programs and schools by location. When talking about school quality, another term you might hear is selectivity. Selectivity refers to the percentage of applicants that a school accepts. The lower the percentage, the higher their selectivity. Some schools, usually those considered to be the most prestigious, have very low selectivity rates. According to the U.S. News and World Report, for instance, in 2016, only 4.7% of all applicants to Stanford University were admitted. That's the lowest percentage in the country. Right behind them were a few other well-known schools. 5.2% of students who applied to Harvard University were accepted, 6% of students who applied to Columbia University, and 6.3% of students who applied to Yale University. And remember, not just any student applies to these schools. Usually it's really high-achieving students who believe they have a good chance of being accepted. Fortunately, these places are the exception, not the rule. The reality is that only a small percentage of all colleges and universities admit fewer than a third of their applicants. In fact, according to a 2014 report from the National Association for College Admissions Counseling, only about 50 U.S. colleges and universities admit fewer than 30% of applicants, and the average rate of acceptance for all four-year schools in the United States is 64.7%. This means that your chances of being accepted by the majority of schools is actually pretty good. Our advice is to not worry about selectivity. Just be aware of it when researching possible schools. Finally, a quick look at school rankings. Rankings are analytical tools developed for the purpose of comparing the quality of different colleges and universities. The number and diversity of ranking systems has grown in recent years, due in large measure to private media companies, which have developed most of them wanting to cash in on their popularity. There are now rankings of institutions, as well as rankings of specific programs and departments. For your purposes, it's important to know that different rankings compare different criteria. Some focus more on things that can be counted, like selectivity rates and the number of publications a school's professors publish, the percentage of undergraduate students who graduate in 4 years, and even how much money a school has in the bank. Others put more weight on qualitative data, like how graduates rate their college experience or the professional success of graduates. This graphic, prepared by the National Association for College Admission Counseling, illustrates the differences in the criteria used by 3 well-known ranking systems. Rather than go over it in detail, however, I'll include it instead as a resource for this lesson that you can review later, if you're interested. Research into ranking systems shows that they are imperfect measures of quality. Most tend to rate large research universities more highly than smaller teaching-focused colleges. They also tend to favor highly selective schools, which results in lower ratings for schools that serve students from lower socioeconomic and academic backgrounds. Despite these faults, rankings do serve as a general guide to school and program quality, so can be helpful when researching different schools. At GoStudy, our advice is to not use rankings as your sole determinant in choosing which school or schools you will apply to. Because they are arbitrary measures, it's better to focus on finding a school that is a great fit for you, is in a location you like, and that fits with your budget. All right then, a few final thoughts related to the topics in this lesson. First, know that the quality of colleges and universities in the United States is generally very high, regardless of institution. Sure, some schools are better than others, but given the competitive nature of the U.S. higher education system, students know when they're not getting a high-quality education, and poor schools just don't last very long. Next, when researching schools, first check to make sure that they are accredited. Accreditation information should be readily available from each school's website and admissions office. Or you can check to see if a school is accredited on one or both of the websites I shared earlier. Next, don't worry too much about selectivity and rankings. In some countries, parents would not think of having their children apply to a U.S. school that was not ranked among the top 10% of all U.S. colleges and universities. In truth, you should never rule out a school just because of its ranking. In many cases, the quality of teaching is better at smaller, not so highly ranked schools than it is at large universities that are highly ranked. That's because class sizes are smaller and professors dedicate more of their time to teaching and student success than they do research. Finally, if you do consider rankings when researching about where to apply, focus on program, not institution rankings. Just because an entire institution is highly ranked doesn't mean that the program you are interested in is. Sometimes the top-ranked programs in a field are found at schools that do not have high institutional rankings. Do your research. You might be surprised which institutions have the strongest programs in a particular field of study. Okay, that will do it for this topic. I know it's a lot to think about, so let us know if you have any additional questions related to these important issues. All right, everybody, I'll see you in the next lesson.